didn't even do the same thing with two people in a row, right? I remember one time I was here and somebody left, and they were like, I don't have time to get prayed over. There's so many people, they left. Only to call me later and say that they were healed. Right? I met another person who said, I don't believe any of this stuff. And they stomped out. Only to go to the doctor, and guess what? They were healed. I say this because I'm discerning and praying about how to proceed, right? And one of the things that I know is interesting is, in Pentecostalism, the emphasis is on power, right? Make sense? Sometimes in TV services, the emphasis is on power, right? The power of God. They experience the power of God, so things are all about power, right? You need the power of God's important, right? But power is then covered up by love. Make sense? That's the Catholics have always emphasized more the love. Sometimes love to the exclusion of power, right? But they're not in competition, right? Because if you love someone, you want them healed, right? I remember this one priest saying, when he did healing services, he doesn't want anything charismatic happening in healing services, right? Like no tongues or anything like that, right? Which is prerogative, right? He said, but in my experience, right, I see that more people get healed when the services are a little bit more charismatic. You know what I mean? And we're not here just to waste your time, right? We're here so that you can experience healing, right? Make sense? So in my experience, more people get healed. And that's why we're here, right? So again, it's kind of like trying to learn, and discern the relationship between love and power, how God wants to minister to large numbers of people. But I don't fully know how God wants to do it in and through me, right? Like I've seen other priests, right? Other ministers, right? I learned from them, right? But God says, I have a unique way for you. There's one priest, he had an incredible healing ministry. But his homilies were as boring as anything. Boring, 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 right? He was boring. And you sat through a half-hour boring homily, you probably say, this guy's boring too, he's talking about himself. Then he had the Mass, and at the end, he said, stand up if you are healed. And 3/4 of the church would stand up. Make sense? They stand up. So again, God wants to heal you. And like the story of the Good Samaritan, he was healed by someone you wouldn't even imagine. The last person that ever expects. God's saying to you today, let go of 90% of your expectations. Don't let go of all of them. 90%. How you think God ought to work, right? And that will open the door for God